To acquire a university degree, a student is expected to spend an average of 5 academic calendars. However, the ongoing strike by university lecturers is likely to give students unwarranted extra years in school that may even affect their eligibility for certain jobs. There has been continuous public outcry from concerned Nigerians within and outside the country on the long and short-term implications of this strike. Several times we have had guests express their concerns on this program, Nigeria Today. Students and parents alike are worried and have been expressing their concerns on the streets or at any given opportunity. Now, in exacerbating the situation, the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASUU, has announced an extension of its more than 5-month-old strike. Every concerned Nigerian and stakeholder was anxiously waiting for the outcome of the National Executive Council meeting at the union's headquarters at the University of Abuja Monday morning, hoping, praying for an end to the strike for students to go back to school. So much for wishful thinking. The meeting, which began late Sunday at the University of Abuja's headquarters of ASUU, ended early Monday morning with the resolution that the strike be ruled over. What necessitated this decision, and is this the best way to go at this point in time? Should the strike linger with government making efforts towards fulfilling most of the demands? And what should be the way forward? These are some of our questions tonight. Welcome to Nigeria Today, the first episode for the week. And I'm Lydia Odijochi. Thank you for joining us. Joining me in the studio to discuss this is Bola Bakari, Human Development Expert. Welcome to the program.
I'm glad to be here.
All right. We also have our regular, reliable friend of the NTA, Public Affairs Analyst, Jide Ojo. Always a pleasure to have you on the program.
Thanks for having me. Good evening, Nigerians.
All right. Let me begin with you, Bola.
Go ahead.
What will be the long and short-term implications of this ongoing strike on our education sector?
Honestly, there is no gainsaying here because ASUU has been at it for ages. Since inception till date, it's like every other year there is a strike. It's a bad recurring decimal. And what pains me the most is the fact that the strikes, from my own perspective, has never been given a human face. Because if it all boils down to one thing: money, 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 and more money. When are we going to hear things like, we have been able to do this, we have been able to invent this, we have been able... You see, the thing is, like the last time I was on air, a vox pop was did, and then one of the kids said his brain was frying up because he's not in school, and then he budgeted 4 years for his first degree, another 2 to make a master's, based on the fact that that was what the mom told him, that do this for me, I'll be the happiest man on earth. And the boy went out with that. And ASUU is making a mess of things. That's why I'm running inference back to when it came into inception in 1986 thereabout. They've had 18, 19 strikes. Virtually every Nigerian that went to school in Nigeria had 1 year or 2 added to their education system. It seems you're a candidate of that too.
2 years.
2 years. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? How did you feel losing 2 years? It's unbecoming. It's an extra duty on your parents. And honestly, ASUU should not continue, because I categorically say ASUU wields the knife and the yam. What you want is one thing. What is being given to you is another. But this element of money, 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 it bothers me because they are not doing justice to our education system based on what you asked. They are not. They are making most of the kids, I can tell you this for free, most of those kids will not go back to school. Some of them have veered into something else. So going back to school is totally out of it. Some of them have become, in quote, miscreants. They found some other unbecoming jobs and occupations that they do not want to leave. They are smart upstairs. And when a smart brain is idle, the devil comes in. The devil comes in and the devil takes over. What ASUU is doing to our kids is unbecoming. I am not in support of it. And then it is ruining our nation.
Jide, I know you are very passionate about this topic. You've been here several times talking about this strike, the implications on the education sector, and of course the students. Now, what will be the impact on the students in terms of quality of education?
Well, one thing is we need to disaggregate the issues at hand. It's very unfortunate, and I'm sobered by the very negative news that came out earlier today that ASUU has chosen to go on indefinite strike. I do not think the strike is unwarranted. I believe it is, given the fact that for those of us who went through public universities, we knew things are not the way it should be. And for many of our colleagues and compatriots who made it out of this country to go study abroad, you will envy them for the kind of very serene, conducive education environment that they had to study. I have a friend when we were in University of Lagos together. We did first degree together. We were doing second degree together at University of Ibadan. And he chose to go to Auburn College to study law. And in 3 years, he got his bachelor's degree. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, you can't get less than 5 years.
5 years.
So, and he's there practicing law. It's just that for many of us who are unfortunate, that's why the issue is that you have options of going to private universities, but how many parents can afford that? So the implication is very grave, like my colleague Sabola said. It's very worrisome, but I will not blame the victim, because ASUU is a victim here. It's the system. You know, today they tell you Nigeria happened to him, Nigeria happened to her. What does it mean to say Nigeria happened to somebody? It means you are unfortunate. Yeah. Today, you need to look at the papers and see how many Nigerian medical practitioners have gone to UK, to Saudi Arabia, to US, abandoning this country. At least I read, as of last week, over 266 medical doctors have been registered coming from Nigeria between January and July this year. Thousands of nurses. I'm not sure whether we have enough medical personnel now to take care of the patients in the public hospitals. The same thing, the academics. For me, they have choices. So many of them have also left the shores of Nigeria to go apply their trade abroad. Some have moved to the private sector to go and apply their trade, leaving only those who have nowhere else to go. And when you are in a system and you are not motivated, you cannot give what you don't have. And that means the quality of impartation of knowledge will be very, very poor. So that is one other implication, because even when there was relative calm in the academia, we do not have enough academics to even train the over 1.5 million students that graduate from secondary school to the universities. And many of them could not even take as many students because of dearth of facilities. So I would not say ASUU is on needless industrial action. For those of us who schooled in public universities, we know that the facilities are very, very inadequate. Both lecture theaters, hostels, laboratories, libraries, administrative blocks, and all of that. They do not have enough, aside from issue of salaries and emolument. So the point is, I just have wished, and I expressed this on a radio program this morning, that I wish that ASUU will suspend this strike, get whatever the federal government is able to give it, and wait for incoming administration next year to retable their issues. Because it's not as if the administration has not offered them anything. They said it's paltry. They said what the federal government has offered them is paltry. And I have said, look, unless we want to deceive ourselves, federal government alone or state government alone cannot fund education.
Of course.
I have said, and I've highlighted a number of other funding streams that could accrue to the universities. For instance, build, operate, and transfer under the public-private partnership. If you see the acres of land that the University of Abuja has, in the next century, they may not be able to use all of them. They can ask private developers to develop part of it and either sell off part of the land to offset the cost of those infrastructure, or actually take it instrumentally, pay back instrumentally to the developer over a long period of time. Just like in the case of residential accommodations, where they say if you pay 20% down payment, you can spend the rest over 10 years, over 15 years. That's one option. Two is alumni association. I mean, I saw in University College Ibadan, Medical College, where one of the former students, heeding to the appeal of the new Dean of Postgraduate Study, Dean of College of Medicine, gave $1 million. $1 million, one individual who graduated about 1985.
Okay.
So that is another option. What about even PTA, who have offered to say, we are ready to contribute even 10,000. That will also offset some things. So there are multiple options that could be explored. I had expected that, look, ASUU should not put its luck too far. Suspend the strike. Take whatever you are able to get from this administration. And incoming administration, you can retable your issues.
Okay. I think I'll take a break right now. We'll be back to talk more, but let's listen to what Nigerians have to say.
People are spending many years, maybe a course that's supposed to be 4 years, they are now spending 5 to 6 years. At the end of the day, when they go for employment, they say they are overage. So the employer is very, very bad.
And parents are the one suffering the whole thing at the end of the day, because your projection with your calculation, maybe you have 3 students who are in the higher institution. Maybe one is supposed to pass out, so that you now know, okay, the responsibility of that one have already gone. It remain 2. Or 2 supposed to finish. But now all of them, you are not keeping them.
I think ASUU should too consider the children. The government should consider the children, and ASUU too should consider the children, because it is not the parents or the government that is suffering right now for what is happening. It is the children.
We are not aware the extent to which the federal government have attended to. If by any reason we are aware the extent to which the federal government have attended to, the masses have to plead with the ASUU for them to come down.
But according to what I'm hearing, they said they've settled everything. The only thing remaining is their 7-month salary, which have not been paid. And government have been saying there is no work, no pay. And ASUU is insisting on no pay, no work. So I don't really know what made them to extend it again. And as of what they are saying, they are doing it in our own favor. So if they are really doing it in our own favor, I would like them to pity us, the students and the parents, and resume.
For them not to resolve the strike, there is a foul play there. Of course, ASUU not agreeing has their own interests at the top. From the other hand, not federal government not agreeing, they have their own courts there. You understand me?
Welcome back. We are still on to Nigeria Today, and my guests are still here with me, Bola Bakari, Human Development Expert, and Jide Ojo, Public Affairs Analyst. Let me come to you, Bola. It seems dialogue is not working in this impasse between the ASUU and the federal government. What next to finding a lasting solution if dialogue isn't working?
Let me run an inference to what my brother here said. He said it seems to him as if ASUU is pushing its luck. You see, there are instances where dialogue make things work. And when it comes to a dialogue, both parties will have to give. It's not a straight-jacketed thing of what I want is what we're going to dialogue about. Let the dialogue center on the fact that, okay, let's move grounds a little bit. Because I would like to say one thing. Everything we're talking about here borders on money. And another factor comes in which he touched on. The element of IGR within that institution. Let me cite you one lame, a very elementary example. There are instances where, let me use the medical profession as an instance. There are doctors that work for government, and at the same time, they have private practice. They pay for the flat, maybe a 3-bedroom flat. They pay for the nurses. They pay for one junior doctor to be there. And at the end of the day, it makes money. They revert that to having an institution in place, a government hospital, where all the infrastructure is there for you, including generator and servicemen. And at the end of the day, you can make things work. Lately, the VCs came together, and honestly, I could not make sense of what the outcome was. I believe they are the administrators of the universities. You are the #1 person of the universities. When it comes to sourcing for funds from institutions of government like TED Fund listens to what the VC says before they release funds for them to carry out whatever they want to carry out. So it bothers me, honestly, it bothers me that they can, with all the expertise, the sharp brains that they have, that they cannot look inwards and generate funds. I would like to ask them one straight-laced question. You make IGR, there is IGR being generated in every university. I am throwing you a truthful challenge. Even that little IGR that you make, what do you do with it? I would like to run an inference. When your chairman, Boshodeke, was being interviewed, he said nobody should threaten him with no work, no pay, because he has 3 jobs. That he can make money elsewhere. In other words, he's telling us that even while he was on the job, he was splitting himself into 3. There are a lot of ways they make IGR that are being covered up. There was another thing that happened last year when they were given 20 billion naira as earned allowance. A few weeks afterwards, SANU and NASU queried ASUU that, what did you do with the money? You didn't give us any accountability. The money just went like that. You see, those are situations of what happens to them they will never talk about. And which gives us, it rubs everybody wrong. As parents, it rubs us wrong. Imagine what that man was saying during the Vox Pop. He said he planned his kids. He has 3. He planned them so that one will be out before another comes in. He said, but not the 3 of them in the university. He's in trouble. So it's like a situation where the education system, that's why at least in some cases, in some instances, I want to appeal to them. That is where that element of dialogue comes in. Let us appeal to ourselves. They are parents. We are parents out here. The kids are suffering. You see, because education, they say is a non-essential, essential, whatever. But to me, it is essential. Because economically, mentally, physically, we are in a recession. For the fact that our universities are off, we are in a bad recession, mental recession. And honestly, the dialogue on ground, I pray that ASUU listens. And then let me use an African parlance. In the case of what my brother said, that ASUU is pushing his luck. In Africa, when somebody begs you, 1 man begs you, you say no. 2 begs you, you say no. If 3 begs you, and you keep saying no, you know what the African will say to you? Are you God?
That's it.
That's the bottom line. Are you God? So it's high time parents are begging, students are begging. You wouldn't believe it. Government too is begging them.
Yes.
And they're still saying the same thing, that no. And no, we really need to say something.
Okay, Jide, it looks like trust and distrust is playing out here on this issue. How would you react to this narrative?
Of course, it's actually mistrust that has led us to this coup d'etat. Recall that in 2020, I also went to strike for 9 months, from March to December 23. On the eve of Christmas, they gave us a Christmas bonus by the calling. You know, the reason why many people did not advance their mind to that was when we were in the throes of COVID-19. So even if they had been on campus, they would have shut down because of the threat to spread of COVID-19. So they had 9 months. All universities between 2019-2020 session, either 2019-2020 or 2020-2021, they cancelled the whole session. And now we are on the verge of doing same, because it's 8 months that make an academic session.
Yes.
They are already on the 7th month. If you calculate February 14 today is 196 days.
That's right.
180 days make a 6 months. So 196 days means 6.5 months that they have been on strike. So if it extends to September or October, another session will be cancelled. The implication is very grave. Not even only to the students, even those who offer support services in the universities.
Yes.
The Okada drivers, the taxi drivers, the house owners who rented their apartments to students to live as hostels, and the canteens where food, and even those who sell airtime, recharge cards, and all of that. All of that economy has collapsed. So, to that extent, it's very unfortunate. Really, my heart bleeds. My heart bleeds because I'm a parent and I have kids and kins in these institutions who we are hoping will graduate in a record time. But you see, the wider implication of what's happening, which is what you alluded to in the background to this discussion, is even that there are jobs you can't take up once you are above certain age.
Exactly.
So if you are above 25, you can't get banking job any longer.
And it's not your fault.
Even the telecommunications and all of these blue chip companies, they want to catch them young.
When the brain
is still, not when you are in your 30s. So how will you, it took some people 4 or 5 times of writing UTME to gain admission. And now, no fault of theirs, they gain this admission, they can't even graduate on record time. Now, many of them will be suicidal with the news that came out this morning about the indefinite extensions. Many of them will have to pull out. Parents will have to shoulder this. Will have to pull out these words and enroll them in private universities. Because that's another option.
Yes,
so that, because while the public universities have low carrying capacity and will be demanding high cutoff mark, the private universities with relative average performance in UTME, you can get, admitted to study a choice course of your own, provided the resources is there. So what the wider and the larger implication is that I feel very strongly too that this situation has been grossly mishandled by both parties, and it is not yet a bad case. People who are well-meaning, the Obasanjos of this world, the IBBs of this world, the Abdusalamis of this world, the T.Y. Danjumas of this world, the Jonathans of this world need to come.
That's what's leading me to my next question now. Yes, there's a place for elder statesmen, past presidents, past ASUU and NASU presidents, and other prominent Nigerians wade into this matter.
Of course. It's highly important, because it is not just when it comes to politics. Politicians will start visiting the elder statesmen to get their word, to get their say-so. That shows the level of importance that they have. We can even bring in the royal fathers too. The ones that are not corrupted. Because from my own end of Nigeria, there's always that strong tendency, which Jide is conversant to. If a royal father tells you to go do something,
You must do it.
you must do
You
it.
have to obey.
He would tell you, see, the circumstance he was painting for us earlier. If a royal father tells you, you go ahead,
Okay.
cancel the strike, go on. When the new government comes in, I will talk to the new government and they will be able to do something for you. Not in totality, but bearing in mind the rules of percentages.
Okay.
With that, things will work.
We hope so.
Let us tell our royal fathers here and now, it is not enough, and our elder statesmen, it is not enough for politicians to come. This time, call ASUU. They will come to your homes. And you tell them, advise them what to do.
Okay. All right. Our time is up. So we'll have to stop here. Bola Bakari, Human Development Expert. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts on the program. Friend of the NTA, friend of the House, Jidojo, Public Affairs Analyst. Your time is always valuable.
You're on paid stuff.
We appreciate you. Thank you. And to you, our viewer, we thank you for always being with us. You can watch this episode and other ones at www.youtube.com/NTV24hub and video. Say goodbye. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.